stream this. Yeah, I'm fixing it. Yeah, I'm fixing it. I'm on it, don't worry. There we go. Sorry guys, is it back now? Hey, so... Sorry, I'm a bit rushed this morning. That's okay though, we're gonna be here like all day today, so I'm gonna put in 8 hours today. But we're just gonna have a short scud tie right now. I gotta get the kids to school and then I'll be back. My bad, I closed that up. You guys can hear me okay and all that, yeah? Hey, we got Ethan, we got Muddy, we got Robert. Good to have you guys in, mate. Oh, yeah, good deal. We'll keep on keeping on then. That was my bad. Okay, the first part of this I'm doing is optional. Again, you can just use little scraps that you've got kicking around from your, I normally use grizzly hackle, but you can use anything you got that's got, you know, fairly wispy kind of end to it. These ones are some leftover chunks from some mottled model turkey. So I'm just going to take off just a few fibers here. We're going to do a few fibers in the front. One second. Thread's kind of being weird on me. Oh, that's not tying in how I want at all. Woohoo! Yeah, unfortunately our ice got hard enough to fish on, but we're back up to like +6 during the day again, so it's getting all mushy on the top. So I could probably get out there. It's still not as safe as I'd like it to be, that's for sure. I could stay in some shallow spots, so if I fell through, at least I wouldn't go above my waist. But I'd rather it was just, you know, good ice. So I only put in just a couple, just a whiff up in the front there. And that just kind of represents their little feelers out the front. And I'm going to do the same on the back here after I put in a thread base. The back little tail bit's going to be a little bit more robust. We're going to go past, I don't normally do this, but since this is a scud, I'm going to go just a bit past the hook point, then back a couple wraps. Now the little tails on these guys are short little things, so we're just doing like that much. We just kind of want it puffing out the back like that. There. Oh, that's perfect. And we can just actually tie this in just to build the body up a little bit, although it's not really necessary. Come on up. Hey Woos, good to have you in, mate. Just gonna have a quick shrimp tie this morning and then I'll be back at it and we'll go into a lot more detail when I get back from dropping the kids off. Okay, so for this one we're gonna be doing a little bit different than I normally do. Normally I'd be tying the scud back in from the back to the front, but on this pattern we're going from the front to the back. And I'm using this really old roll of, there you go, Rob, you're getting there. This is actually kind of like, as far as scud hooks go, for this pattern I like the little slightly flatter scuds. But for a lot of my mid-season scuds, they'll have that nice kind of arched, back, like, oh, you know what I'm talking about, where it's like a hoop. It's got a nice bend to it. In this case, I'm not doing that. Okay, so I'm just going to cut me a little bit here. We don't need a whole lot. And this is tied on a, what are we on, a 14? I think so. So it's fairly small. This one's specifically meant for late season shrimp, so like late fall, where they get this darker color. I just realized that this piece has a damage section in it right there. Well, I think we might be able to just tear that out. Hopefully that'll still work. Again, this stuff's pretty old. This is just original Swiss straw. It is a synthetic Swiss straw. I have lots of proper Racus natural straw, but not so much in this color. This is a nice, well, it's ostrich, right? We're trying to imitate the same color that a natural ostrich herl has. I always kind of struggle doing this part. I'm not the best at tying backwards. But we all have our struggles, right? There we go. Okay, so we want to have this. And I do also tie these, depending on where I'm going to be fishing them, I'll tie them with a bead on the front. Like a little tiny brass bead, just to add a little weight. Especially if I'm going to be into the later season and maybe ice fishing or dropping these down into some still water. There we go. Okay, so now that that one's tied in, we have to tie in a little bit of copper wire. Just going to use this small, this is a rather old spool, but it's nice copper wire. Where's my tag end? There we are. Boop. So I'm just going to grab out a length of that. Don't need a whole lot. This is going to get tied in at the butt. One thing that works a treat for this actually is if you have some old USB cables laying around, like phone charging cables, or a lot of different electronic cables, but USB cables specifically, they're very, very flexible and has a nice bright copper, and it's one size down from what this is, so it's even finer. And it works really good for wrapping because it's so soft. If you have some old USB cables around, don't throw them out, strip them, because it's also not included in okay. Getting kind of a bit of a thread body made up there. It's not on purpose, but it's all good. I'm gonna start right here. I'm gonna tie in the bloop, 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 bloop. Now we're gonna want to have about 3 to 4 of these guys. Really depends on how thick your ostrich herl is. This stuff's a little bit on the thinner side, so I'm gonna go with 3, maybe 4. Let's see what I pull out here. There we are. Now, in late season, for whatever reason, I'm not really sure why, the trout typically will actually go after the small Grammis shrimp and not so much the big ones. They'll actually start keying in on these little tiny guys. And they'll leave the big ones alone. And I have no idea why. It's just, it's a biological fact that frustrates a lot of fishermen. And I'm not so sure if that is a local thing for BC and this area. There's lots of biologists that have been studying that, and I don't know why, and I don't know if they know why. So we're gonna tie in like 3 or 4 of those guys there. I'm gonna get those in a nice small clip here. And the reason you want to use the smaller ostriches, like I said, they're keying in on these really tiny shrimp. And the little tiny shrimp don't have much for the little legs that stick down. So if you use a bigger ostrich hurl, which you can, that's what you got. That's what you got. It just doesn't imitate exactly the way these guys look. But that's what you got. Oh, come on, buddy. Just had one snap on me. I'll try and recover that. That one's not ideal. I'm gonna see if I can regather it here. Well, better than it was anyway. Go snap all 4 of them. Okay. Wow. This stuff is very, very, as you can tell. Thanks, Rob. As you can tell, Nimby's in a bit of a hurry this morning, and he's pulling too hard on his... Oh. Yeah, that one broke pretty far down there. One thing you could have done, which I didn't realize this stuff was as brittle as it is, but one thing you can do, and I should have done, is wrap this with a single strand of thread, like you would with peacock herl, to make it a little bit stronger. Once you get that copper wrap in there, it's really not going to be a big deal whatsoever. It's going to hold it all together. I have this one split one here, and we'll see if it's going to hold up or not. Hoping it will. Trying to bind it. Yeah, it is super fuzzy. The struggle is real. Alright, there we go. I got that one misfit one bound down. Yeah, it's not very strong stuff. This is the same stuff like if you're watching Brian's videos where he does the grubs and all that. Same stuff that's sticking along the sides of the grubs. You can get it in multiple different colors. I generally prefer to tie with just a natural gray color like this, and there's lots of natural colors within this range where you can get it anywhere from a white to a nice light brown to peaches. This is your most common though, is this gray, and this is what we're shooting for today actually. This is what we want. Because in the late fall, they have this nice brownish gray color. Now, if you need to match this for your scuds that are in your area, once you have it tied on like that, just grab a marker set. This is a nice alcohol-based marker set, and just grab a marker set like that and just touch it up. Here, in fact, we can do that now just to say if the shrimp in your area were a little bit more on the orange side in the fall, then you can just take a marker, and I'm just going to hit this up underneath just to color up some of the underfronds in that orange. And I'll give it that just a whiff of color. It'll fluff back out once it dries. The marker will kind of mat it down a little bit. But once it dries, I'll brush it with the nylon brush and we'll be back to where we were. Come on, container. There we go. Okay, so the reason, or one of the things that makes this one different, is we're going to hold this back. And normally I'd be doing this the other direction. Just gonna see if I got this fold right. I want to open up the Swiss straw. Over the body, close it on the back. Like so. Now we're going to wrap our copper up around it. We're going to be leaving that little tag end in, but we're going to be cutting it a hair shorter in a second here. We don't want a huge amount of segmentations on this. Grannamis have about 4 to 5. And again, if you have a bead at the top, you're going to have to shorten that up by a segment, because that bead will take up a segment, right? And it's crazy how productive something tiny like this can be. Like there's not much there, but at the time of year that the fish are keying in on these things, if you're fishing a larger one, they'll just ignore it. It can be really frustrating, but they'll just gobble these little guys up. Come on, helicopter off you. Kind like for the copper you're talking about, not Cat 5 cable, but this one's just uni thread, or is this uni? I think this is uni. Just soft copper wire. But like I was saying, the USB cable makes excellent copper for this. I'm gonna make some people cringe and use my good tying scissors to cut this one off. There we go. Okay, and what we want to do is they have like a little protrusion on the back where they shoot out water. I mean, I do have Cat 5 cable and I've used it for that. It's similar. Cat 5 is a little bit thicker and it's stiffer. But you can definitely use it, and I have. The downside, and you just want to split this up with your scissors a little bit and make like almost like a little V indent. There we go. Just like that. But yeah, just an old junky USB cable. I'll grab some. I got a bunch cut up down there, and I normally cut them into pieces. The reason that the USB cables work so well is they aren't bound to the plastic sheathing. They're separated, and they're already wound in, I think, 4 or 5 strand. So you cut off a section, you get 4 or 5 every time you cut, and there's four wires inside of a USB cable. You got your hot, you got your neutral, you got your 5-volt hot and neutral, and your two data lines. You got four, so you get 20 pieces per cut. Yeah, no, it works a treat. Okay, I'm just gonna do a half hitch on this, and we'll get a. Try not to get those antenna tied down. That was a horribly placed half hitch. Let's try that again. It's a little better. Dude, antenna, stick in the front, please. Come on now. The little antenna in the front are like a total afterthought. You really don't need to put too much mind to those. We'll play with this pattern a little bit when I get back. I could definitely make some improvements to this one. Overall, yeah, happy with that. I'd fish that for sure. That's what you want. Like they want to be just little tiny little fluffs of a thing. And then once that dries, you can see how much that'll fluff back out after. Just need to get the brush in there. They'll stick together with the alcohol, but you can fluff it back out after. That's what you want. You just want just the littlest of little feet underneath. A little tail, a little puff, segmented with a couple copper wraps. That's it. It's that simple. And for whatever reason in the fall, this will nail better than any other one. We're a little bent there. Let's do that. There we go. Hey, I do my spin and spiel, get some breakfast together for the kidlets. Howdy everyone, today in the vise we have an Ostrich Scud. This is tied with some, okay, I'm just gonna start that over, that was horrible. Phew. Howdy y'all, and today we have an Ostrich Scud in the vise. Tied it in with a little bit of feelers and a little bit of tail tied in with some grizzly hackle. We have some swish straw in brown along the top for the shell casing, and just regular gray ostrich along the body. We've got about 4 strands for the body and some copper wire wrapping it up for segmentation to hold everything together nice and secure. It's a tiny little pattern. This is tied on a size 14. You can tie them on a size 12, 14. You want to keep them pretty small. Go down to an 18. These are great for late season trout, where they start keying in on these tiny little grama shrimps in darker colors like this in the fall. I'm not sure why they do, but they do, and they feed them up crazy, so you should definitely have a couple of these in your box. Wonderful, easy little tie, fun little pattern, and very, very productive in the fall. Thank you kindly. Add a couple to your box, eh? Ah, there we go. It's a little better. I forgot my tea too. Man, I'm just all over the place this morning. And get behind and start rushing on things. But yeah, super simple little pattern. Like normally my shrimp and grammus that I tie would be, you know, twice that size and thick, like these guys here. So the most of the year, this is what I'm fishing, are these guys, all in this little row here. You can see how much thicker and bigger they are compared to this one. But yeah, in the late fall, you know, when it's starting to get cold, I'm not sure why, but the trout switch over to these little guys in the fall, so no idea why. You figure in the fall they'd be eating up the big ones. All good, mate. We're just dropping off here, Ethan, and I'll be back. I'm gonna be on for 8 hours today. We're gonna do a big long kind of streamy-thony thing. I don't really have a huge plan. I'm just gonna go through my list of flies I want to tie and get a bunch of them whipped off. So yeah, hopefully you guys can join me for that. Don't obviously need to stick around for the whole day, but it'll be nice to see you guys come and go and drop in and out. But I'm just gonna call it now, get some breakfast done up for the kidlets and get them off to school. So you guys have a good morning. Thank you for hanging out with me. That is an Ostrich Scud. Quick, simple little tie and extremely effective little thing. Have a good morning, all. Thanks, Robert. Thanks, Ethan. Thanks. We had Ruben pop in for a minute there. We had Muddy. Who else do we have? Ewaz. Let's see. Looks like we had Donald, might be a new guy. Ethan. I think that's everyone. And of course, Rob, thanks for coming in. Yeah, I'll see you guys in a couple hours anyway. I'm going to stop by the fly shop on the way home. Maybe pick up some new materials. Maybe have something to show you guys. If not, then I'll just come home and start tying today. Thanks kindly.